Hi, I'm Stephen Collins. I'm the senior pastor at Kingsport Community Church. And if you're watching this video, you saw our packet about our worship pastor position, Worship Pastor Plus, that we're currently in a search for. And I thought it might be good to make a video just so, I don't know, that packet's like 100 pages long. So thanks for reading it if you have, but also just so you could see me and maybe see like our church a little bit. And I just wanted you to get a little bit of a feel for who we are and what we're about here at KCC. So before I get into more of that, and I don't want to take too much of your time, I know that your time is valuable and you probably are applying to other positions or looking at other things right now, but I want to take just a few minutes if you have the time and you're really considering possibly sending in your resume to us and applying for the position. I wanted to share with you a little bit about our church, the opportunities and the challenges that we're facing. But first, I wanted to say thank you to you. Thank you for being a pastor. Thank you for who you are and what you do in the world. I know that it's not always easy. I'm a pastor's kid. I've been a pastor in some shape or form for 15 years now, and I know that it's highs and lows and mountains and valleys, and so thank you for your faithfulness to Jesus. Thank you for your heart for the kingdom of God and for this world that the Lord has placed you in. And I just want you to know that whether you come here or not, you go somewhere else or whatever happens, just know that who you are is important and what you are doing is important in eternity. So I just wanted to say that from one pastor to another. Thank you for being a pastor. Now, about our church. So let me start with myself. I have been the pastor here at KCC for about 9 months now. So I'm new too. You might be new here. I'm new too. I shouldn't say replaced. I came in after a senior pastor who retired after 34 years of ministry in this church. 34 years he was here, and his name is Ron Lowe, and he was just an amazing person, amazing pastor. But when he retired, then I came in a few months after him as the first pastor transition that this church had experienced in 34 years. And I say that, the first pastor transition, because if God were to bring you and KCC together, this would also be a brand new pastor transition for most of the people here. Our worship leader, Mark Staten, is retiring after 40 years of ministry in this church. So you had a senior pastor who was here for 34 years and a worship leader who's been here for 40, and he's retiring at the end of October of this year. And so those are two major staff transitions in the life of this church in under a year. And so there are amazing opportunities and also some challenges that go along with that. And so I wanted to just share a little bit about those opportunities and challenges with you as you're kind of praying through this and maybe considering sending your resume and to consider coming to our church. So I'll start first of all with the opportunities. I will say this first and foremost about this church. If there were ever a church that deserved good things to happen, if there were ever a people that deserved to see revival and renewal come in their church, and I don't even know if that's the right word to use. I don't know if you can deserve revival, right? But if there were ever a church that did, it's this church. They are some of the best people I've ever met in my life. I was really concerned, coming in after someone who was here for so long, how I would be received, how the changes that I wanted to see come would be received, because they're, you understand, right? You're a pastor. You understand those interpersonal things and how difficult it can be to bring change in the life of a church, especially an established church with a long tenured leadership in place. But these people are so good and so loving and so humble and gracious and accepting that it's just blown me away, honestly. And I don't say this to be flippant or whatever, but it has blown me away how easy it has been here to bring change. And we've changed lots of little things. This worship transition will be the first major change that we've made, but we've changed a million little things coming in from the physical layout of the building to instituting new small group models and discipleship models and things that I consider it minor, but could be construed as major if you've been here for the past 40 years. And these people's hearts have just been wide open to whatever it takes to reach emerging generations for Jesus. And I think that's really impressive for any congregation, but especially for this congregation because it is an aging congregation. That's one of the challenges. I'm stumbling around here. I'm trying to think of where to start. But when Ron announced his retirement, he did it about a year ahead of time, and he started taking the congregation through a visioning process during that last year to take an honest look at where the church is and where the church wants to go. And what they found in this visioning process, as they did surveys of the congregation and demographics research and that kind of thing, they found that the average age of a congregant here in our church, an average age for a member, is 72 years old. 72 years old was the average age. And Ron, I know that might sound scary, but hang with me. Ron took them through this process of saying, you know what? Where are we going to be in 10 years if nothing changes? Where are we going to be in 20 years if nothing changes? And the congregation in that last year that Ron was here really wrestled with that reality to say, yeah, but where are we going to be if we don't change? Where are we going to be if we don't go all out to reach young people, emerging generations in Kingsport with the good news of Jesus Christ? And where are we going to be? And the answer is, the church would not be here if nothing changed. And so they really stepped out in faith to bring me in. I'm 35 years old, and I come from a church plant in the Seattle area. So very, very different culturally, very, very different in the style of church that we did. And I was very honest with the church. When we came to candidate, I told them, look, you got to understand that if I come in, if you feel like God is bringing us together and if He orchestrates this, I am coming with a church planter's mentality. I am coming with the mentality of we're going to lean into change, and our bias is going to be towards changing things rather than staying the same. And we will be in constant states of experimentation and trying new things to reach new people, and we're just not going to settle for the status quo ever. And I told the church, the whole congregation, if you do not want that, if you're not okay with that, I need you to vote no on my candidacy. I need you to help me discern God's will by voting no. We were voted in unanimously. And that was just, to my wife and I, my wife Mandy, to us, that was just God swinging the door wide open and saying, this is where I want you to be. So we've been here for 9 months. And like I said, I've been amazed at how easy it has been to institute change. I've been amazed how easy this worship transition has been. I was a little concerned when as I began to enter into that conversation with my worship leader, but he and his wife and his family and the whole church family have been so positive about it. They've been so, he and his wife have both told me in just, conversation together, we just feel like it's time. We feel like this is what the church needs. And so, we're just going to trust the Lord, and we're going to continue to love and to serve and attend to this church and just serve in different capacities. But we're going to be totally supportive of whoever God brings in next. And it just blew me away that it could be that easy. But that's kind of how it is, I think, when God is showing a church favor. And that's the only way I know how to explain it, is that God, his favor is resting upon this church. And I believe that there is incredible opportunity here, even in the face of those challenges. Now, another challenge that would just let you know about as you're praying and considering is, it's an opportunity and a challenge, really. So we already do modern music. You don't have to worry about trying to transition us from, just hymns every Sunday to more modern expressions of music. We have been doing modern music in this church for years, and our congregation knows the songs. The challenge that will be faced is that even as we have done that modern music, it has very much been run through the filter of like old-fashioned church song leading, if that makes sense. And to me, there's a difference between song leading and worship leading. So even as we've done these songs, from like Hillsong and Austin Stone and House Fires and, all these great songwriters and teams that are out there, for the past few years, we have still run those songs through the filter of like piano and organ. Now, we have a band. We have an electric guitarist, a bass guitarist, a drummer, a keyboardist, but we've still tried to like do these songs with piano and organ driving the rhythm and driving the music. And I'm sure that you can imagine it just doesn't work. And we all know it. The church knows it, the board knows it, the worship team, we all understand that it's an issue. And so one of the challenges will be really beyond your skill set and just your Sunday in, Sunday out leading the music. It'll be transforming a culture. It'll be shifting us from a song leading culture in worship to a real worship and experiential and participatory culture of worship in this church. So that's why I say that, in the beginning of that 100-page long job description that you might be looking at. It's not really 100 pages if you haven't looked at it yet, but it's really long. But that's one of the reasons why I said at the very get-go, we're looking for the right person. It's not just about, your skill as a musician or how good your voice is. We're looking for the right person that God would bring to help be a catalyst for us to experience a new culture of worship in our church and really in Kingsport as a whole, because there are not many churches in our community who are experiencing true worship in their churches right now. So that's a little bit about our church and the opportunities I see and the challenges that I see. And I've already rambled on too long. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I just wanted you to get a little bit of the heart behind who we are, what we're trying to do here. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Even, you don't have to, send your resume yet or anything. Feel free to reach out to me at our church office or, through email, and I'll be happy to help any way I can. Even if God doesn't end up bringing us together, I just want to honor you as a pastor, as a leader, and if he takes you a million miles away from here, I just want to encourage you and let you know that I'm so thankful for what you're doing. I'm thankful for who you are, and I'm excited for what God is doing in your life. And if he does bring you and this congregation together, I am so excited about what's going to happen as we partner together in leading this church and ministering to this community. So again, my name's Stephen. I hope that maybe we get to hear from you soon, and God bless you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video.